Hello everyone, Sonic Senraku here, and welcome to another Pokemon Showdown video. Today I've got a replay against a guy named Jazz Gang, and you can tell by the look of his team that we're in for a very difficult time. He's got himself a Grimmsnarl, and if you've played enough Showdown, you know what Grimmsnarls do. They come in, they throw up light screens and reflects, parting shot out to a bulky Mon, and the bulky Mon just uses his high attack stat and his defense stat to sponge hits from you while wearing down your team with his strong attacks. I was not in the mood for that, especially since if you can look at my team, it doesn't have the best defensive cores, and while it's got offensive Mons, they can't really do much if I don't have a good defensive core to switch around when another threat comes to threaten them out. So in short, my team kind of sucks. The only reason why I'm using it is because I just wanted to use Mouse Hold, and I just threw something together to be able to have an excuse to use Mouse Hold and Population Bomb stuff. But aside from that, Breloom over here really kind of sweeps through my 6. I mean, obviously aside from Golden Go, but then you've got something like Iron Moth over here and Cinderace that can take care of Golden Go if need be. So I'm not in the best position. So let's see how I handle this match. Obviously I expect him to lead off with Grimmsnarl, and I go out to Mouse Hold. Now you're probably thinking, why a Mouse Hold? At least you have Cinderace in case he throws up screens to switch them back. But I don't want to just come in with Cinderace right away and get my Cinderace to be worn down. So I go straight into Mouse Hold. I'm of the idea that if he does start setting up screens, I can just at least tidy up the power up next to the screen boosts. And if he doesn't, then I can get a strong Population Bomb off. So I expected the screens, but this guy goes straight for the Sucker Punches. I'm not like, okay, fine. Time to get Population Bombed. And I luckily get enough hits to take down Grimmsnarl. I didn't expect that. Now my Mouse Hold is packing the loaded dice, so I at least expected 4 to 5 hits, but we got at least 7 there. So I was really happy for that. Now obviously going to Breloom because he's going to try to pick me off with a Mach Punch, so I go straight into Golden Go, predicting that. Obviously, so that's a no-brainer. This Breloom is packing Protect. I haven't seen that, and I don't really know what that does, or like what's the point of something like that. But I go for the Shadow Ball, and based on the damage the Iron Hand takes, it's either extremely special defensive, or it's got an Assault Vest. I'm of the assumption that it has an Assault Vest, so I'm like, shit. But knowing that I got the Spadef drop, I understand that the Iron Hands is probably going to want to attack, because that's kind of what the player psychology dictates. If you're in a pickle, you tend to be more aggressive and more impulsive. So obviously I'm not going to stay in with my Golden Go. I'm going to switch out, sack the Mouse Hold, and then I'm going to go into Cinderace in order to kind of scare out the Iron Hands. Goes out into a Zoom Roll on my Pyro Ball, and let me just pause here again. This is where I feel like I misplayed immensely. So at this point, a Zoom Roll is in, and again, because my team is very frail and I don't have a decent defensive core to support my offensive Mons, it's difficult to switch into incoming attacks. So I'm like, what do I do here? Do I sack the Cinderace? Or do I try to switch into a Mon to sponge the attack? I should have sacked the Cinderace. The reason why Cinderace initially was pivotal was because of Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl sets up screens and then fucks my team up when their Mons are behind a screen. But the dude sacked Grimmsnarl early, so I don't need Cinderace anymore. So why I then decide to switch out into my Quackavolt, I have no idea. This was an extremely bad play, and it's worse because Quackavolt was a win con. Look at his team, then look back at Quackavolt. Look at this. Cinderace, done. Iron Moth, done. After a 1 or 2 Moxie boost, close combat on Iron Hands, done. Even Breloom, done once the sash is broken. Quackavolt was a win con, and I just kind of threw it away, and I shouldn't have done that. So here, the Azumarill goes straight for the play rough. And yeah, I lose Quackavolt really stupidly. But I go straight into my T-Tar. Guy probably is like, what the heck? Why would you go into a T-Tar and a Azumarill? You should have suspected something, honestly. Whenever a Mon comes switching in and they're weak to the opposing Mon, you should always suspect, especially in this meta, that there is Terrasolizing probably afoot. So I switch out my T-Tar. I go into my Cinderace, and I go straight for the Pyro Ball here. Obviously now I'm just going to sack Cinderace when I should have sacked it before. I lose to the Overheat. And this, I think, was kind of a poor move on my opponent's part too, because I don't really think that they needed to use the Terra on their Iron Moth. I think that they could have saved the Terra for maybe even their Iron Hands, because if, let's say, the Iron Hands was Terra Flying, it could avoid ground moves from something like Ting Lu, right? And it would be able to deal with Ting Lu better because it has a Drain Punch, and all what Ting Lu would be able to do is Ruinate against it, which obviously Ruination can't kill him on, so Drain Punch would be what you would use in order to take HP away from Ting Lu and wear it down and kill it. But they wasted the Terra on Iron Moth in order to take down Cinderace, and well, that was kind of serendipitous for me because of that big screw up. That big screw up almost cost me a lot. So I Shadow Ball here, and here I stay in with Golden Go because I predicted them to over predict and go for the Drain Punch. Now this was an example of over predicting because the opponent really didn't need to do this. If they were predicting me to go into Ting Lu, they could have easily just Earthquaked into Drain Punch. Iron Hands is naturally faster than Ting Lu. So if you Earthquaked and then Drain Punched, you would have got HP back. Let's say I Earthquaked you. Then you would have just hit me again with a Drain Punch and taken me out. And then I have nothing at this point for Cinderace, because then Cinderace just sweeps through the last 2 mods. So that was an over prediction on his part, and I kind of felt like he would, based on how he was playing earlier. And so that's why I stay in. And I knew I could take one Earthquake, so at this point, Iron Hands is gone, big threat out of here, and I still get to keep my Golden Go so that I can defeat Breloom, because otherwise I'm going to lose to Breloom if I don't keep my Golden Go. The Sucker Punch comes in. That's going to be wonderful information for later. And I just go straight for the rocks because I don't want Breloom coming in and out, and I want Iron Moth to not be able to just do whatever it wants either. And so I go into my T-Tar that's obviously now Terra Grass, so I'm not fearing a Bullet Punch at all. But here, I just want the damage. I want at least some kind of damage on Breloom so I can pick it off with Shadow Ball later with Golden Go. So I go straight for the crunch after I survive 5 hits from Bullet Seed. Everybody getting lucky here. And then I go straight into my Golden Go, obviously, because I'm trying to take on the Breloom. Goes for the Protect. Doesn't really do much. I guess Protect is just to see what I lock myself into in case I'm Scarfed. But I go for the Shadow Ball because, yeah, well, now he knows that I'm Scarfed. And so he goes into the Cinderace. And here's where things get interesting. I decide to stay in because he knows that I know that he has Sucker Punch. And the obvious thing to do is to use a Sucker Punch. If I stayed in and he Sucker Punched and I lost Golden Go, then obviously I lose to Breloom. He understands this. I understand this. So then, because I understand that he understands this, I expect him to, again, over-predict and go for the U-turn. Which, honestly, that was probably the move that he needed to do in case he predicted me to go into Ting Lu. But I've been staying in, when I should be switching out sometimes. So I guess if I was him, if I was that player and I recognized that pattern, I probably would have Sucker Punched. But then I would probably have been beating myself up if the Sucker Punch failed. So I get why this happened. So now he goes for the Sucker Punch, and because Ting Lu can literally take a high jump kick from here, I'm confident that I can win this game. But he doesn't go for the high jump kick. He just goes for the U-turn. Not sure if he didn't have high jump kick, and so I win the match. So yeah, pretty close. Well, it was pretty intense. Again, I screwed up when I sacked Quackable. I could have saved it because it was literally the win con. That's all I had to do, was just find the right time to bring Quackable in, get an Aqua Step off, game was over. And I failed to do that, so the match went on longer than it should have. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hit the subscribe button. More Pokemon Showdown videos on the way. See you later.